Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Nvidia daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Nvidia stock. Let's go over what has happened to Nvidia stock and really just the market as a whole. I'll give you my thoughts moving forward and all of that good stuff. So as per usual, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you do enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts on the charts, etc., I do share my thoughts with my members every single day. The market is open, mainly on Tesla stock for $3 a month, or sometimes other stocks, or Nvidia for $5 a month, plus, of course, the first tier, which obviously gives you access to the second tier. But nonetheless, let's just jump into it. I mean, this is a wild day. Nvidia with a down day of about 5%, closing at pretty much $107 per share. And this is where I have re-entered Nvidia once again, and I actually also have a cash ticker put lower on Nvidia down to 99. Why did I re-enter Nvidia? I actually sold pretty much as market open because I was not liking the essentially I had a stop loss, and it pretty much hit my stop loss to make sure that trade I entered on, I think it was Friday, stays in profit. But then I re-entered. Why did I re-enter? Well, Nvidia pretty much hit my bottom target. It pretty much hit my bottom target, closed down to this downward channel, right? This was that downward channel that we've been talking about for quite some time, right? If I zoom out, of course, you can see here this channel that we've been pretty much zigzagging in between. And again, kind of like when maybe back here it felt impossible for us to go back to the upper end of the channel, we did. Kind of like over here, I still remember this very vividly, when it felt impossible for us to come back down to the opposite end of the channel, we did. Now we're once again at the opposite end of the spectrum. We're essentially just ping-ponging back and forth. Now that doesn't mean that we just bounce from here tomorrow and it's all is good news. Hey, that's it, problem solved. Just that easy. Not necessarily, right? It's not always that easy. You know, we could still come down a little bit further, maybe even come down to the 105s briefly, maybe hug the bottom end of this bottom trend line for maybe a few days in a row or so, right? Especially with the week like this week where we have like CPI on Wednesday, we have PPI Thursday, we have a few more, I forgot what they were exactly, but we have a lot of data points essentially coming out this week. So keep in mind that, this is a pretty spicy week, right? This is a pretty spicy week, but this is the kind of week that can potentially give a market a bit of relief, right? So the main thing to watch for in Nvidia here is the fact that, again, we're pretty much in that kind of bottom-ish picking territory around Nvidia here, right? Based on what this, downward channel is showing, right? We also have, of course, this 1 hour downward channel that we're still in, that we had a bit of a false breakout over here, but nonetheless, we're still relatively in it. So we want to see more confidence on Nvidia moving out of this downward channel as well. But the way I'm looking at it right now, and honestly, I might even remove this 1 hour one, mainly because it's already been kind of violated and I'm not a huge fan of that. The main perspective to me right now is probably just the daily and the weekly. The daily, again, I like the fact that it's showing, us at that bottom channel that I've been talking about for quite some time. About 106 is the level I've been talking about. I entered at pretty much 107, which is exactly where it closed. So I'm, pretty much break even right now. But again, I'm not full position, right? I still have cash ticker puts down at 99. Well, I will add even further because based on the weekly, I think that, if things really get bad, I think, I'll move down into about 99, which is going to be this pivot point right here, is a possibility. Worst case scenario will be this kind of, demand zone right here, which will be closer to like the 93, 94. But I expect Nvidia, right now I expect it to bounce from around here. But if we lose, 105-ish, give or take, that's when I would expect it to most likely make its way back down to about this kind of 97 to 99 range. If we lose that, then it's most likely back into this demand pocket here, closer to about 93. Those are the main three levels to the downside. Assuming we lose one, we go to the next, right? That's usually how these things work. You lose one, you go to the next. You lose one, you go to the next. You lose one, you go to the next. I think Marvell is actually a pretty good example of it, if I can find Marvell here, right? Same idea here. You can see, kind of came down on the weekly. For instance, it's a little bit cleaner. Nice little demand pocket here, nice little support zone. It actually held on this week. Look at that, it didn't hold, fell right into this demand pocket, didn't hold on the daily. It actually held a bit of pre-market, but pre-market ended up falling after earnings. And now it's back to the next demand zone, which is all the way down here, sitting at pretty much 64 roughly, right? So it's just one of those things where, step by step, right? So Nvidia is kind of similar in that sense, but this is a potential major one that I can, foresee at the very least a short-term bounce. But the question is that, this doesn't mean that necessarily Nvidia has overall bottomed, because in order for Nvidia to reach the top end of this channel up here, which let's say it happens, I don't know, by the end of the month, for instance, which will put it closer to about 130 roughly per share, it needs to break past this supply or resistance zone essentially right here, pretty much sitting right around, we'll just say about 117, 118, give or take a dollar or two. So 116 to 119. That kind of maybe $4-ish range, right, is pretty much the supply zone, right? That's the area that bulls need to break, right? And that's kind of the issue we had on these 2 days over here. We broke down below it, came back up, retested it, then we went down even further. Sometimes, it's just that simple. So let's see how that plays out, right? But that's something that you definitely want to watch out for from the more bullish perspective on Nvidia, and just kind of see how that, kind of follows through moving forward. But that's gonna be the first main resistance level to watch. If we can break above that and turn it back into support, congratulations, Nvidia should make its way back up higher to about, again, at the very least, in my opinion, the mid 120s, but probably closer to the top of the channel, which will be closer to 130, which actually lines up potentially pretty well with the weekly, because, and the reason why Nvidia needs to break again about that, we'll say 119-ish range, around there, right? Again, it's not a specific level, right? I don't like giving specific levels. It's rarely that simple. There's usually a range to it, and it depends on when it happens usually too. But the main reason that level is important is because we have the 50-week EMA sitting right now at 117, and of course, again, the one thing I don't like and why I'm not fully convinced Nvidia is out of the woodworks just yet is because of this rising kind of wedge, if you will, that we did break down last week. Right now, I think we're a little oversold short term. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a bounce back up to about, again, 118, 117, 119, something like that. But that's going to be like on top of the daily that I just showed. On the weekly, potentially even more of a crucial level to break for the bulls, and a potential level to, if you're looking to short Nvidia, to enter cash or short or puts really on Nvidia. No financial advice, just my opinion. So yeah, anyways, that's kind of the main level to watch for Nvidia moving forward. Like if and when we get this bounce back up to about 118-ish, very, very important level to break, daily and weekly. Both of them, there's some confluence there that I, am definitely hesitant. So whatever I'm holding right now, I will be selling. Probably even a little bit earlier, just to be safe. Probably closer to like 115 or 16. I'm not playing with fire here too much. I'm being very careful with the way I'm trading Nvidia right now. I've been trading Nvidia almost perfectly. I'll be honest. I've been trading Nvidia very, very well. Granted, I obviously sold a little bit early here. I didn't, time the top or anything like that. But sold it. People were laughing at me up here, and now I'm laughing at them down here, right? So I've been, very patient on Nvidia. I've been trading it quite well, and I've been avoiding substantial losses essentially, I guess, on Nvidia, because I've just been very patient, right? And now it's at my level. Of course, I entered my position with the, again, if we start losing 105, I most likely will get stopped out or exit the position, because that's just too high risk for me there. Mainly because, like I said, we can get back into the 90s there. But nonetheless, if we do get that bounce from here, maybe, tomorrow or post CPI Wednesday or whatever the case, 117, 118, 116, 119, like that $3-4-ish range, very crucial. Make sure your eyes are stuck on that level very intently, because that is the level to break for Nvidia to potentially get very bullish again. Because again, if we do break this level, at the very least, I think we'll come up to 130 to the opposite end of the spectrum. But then I will also start viewing this area as a massive false breakdown, and that will be very, very bullish. But that's still a big if. There's still a lot of work to be done. It could happen. I'm not saying it can't happen. It could. Especially when you have, SMH over here, which is that, ETF for the semis essentially, looking a little bit concerning overall on the trend, but it is, of course, finding some support. You can see here in this support region right here. Worst case scenario, if things, get uglier, would be a drop down to somewhere around $200 essentially on SMH, if that, if things don't go that well. But it is at the moment at a potential support zone. Worst case, short term at least, is 200. But if the market essentially crashes, SMH most likely makes its way back down to like 150. So wouldn't want to be part of that. But yeah, so let's watch how this plays out. Let's see what happens moving forward. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.